You have reached a point in your qualitative research study where you need to analyze your data. You have also decided to use NVivo to analyze your interview transcripts. NVivo is one of the most reliable computer-assisted qualitative data analysis softwares. In this video, we are going to explore some basic functionalities of NVivo. This will help you perform your first analysis as a beginner. I will be using NVivo 14, which is the current version of the software. In this video, we are going to go through 7 steps, including 1. General introduction into NVivo and its functionalities. 2. Importing transcripts. 3. Coding. 4. Coming up with themes. 5. Visualizing in NVivo. 6. Exporting the codebook and the code list from NVivo 14. And 7. Producing the data analysis report. The first thing that we are going to do is to open NVivo 14. So we open NVivo 14. This is how NVivo 14 opens. We are going to head directly to the new project and create a new project. I'm going to name this demonstration project, and then I click on next, and then they give you this option here, which is very important, where they allow you can either choose to autosave your project or display a reminder manually save your project every 15 minutes. I normally like this second option of manually, so that every 15 minutes there will be a pop-up that will show you to save your project. This is the only guarantee that you don't lose your project. I've had some people and some of my clients select the autosave and they've lost all their progress or their project. So make sure you select the second option, which is the reminder to save your project every 15 minutes. Now, when you open NVivo, you're gonna see on the left side, we're going to have this different menu with different panels or functionalities. For example, data. This is where we are going to import our data. So we will import our data in the file section, but it also has file classification and externals. We have the coding, where we have the codes, the sentiment, relationship, and relationship types. We have the cases, we have the notes, we have the sets, queries, visualization, and reports. Okay. Now, the main thing that you should note as a beginner is that we are going to use the files area and the codes area on this panel. We also have a menu here that has file, home, import, create, explore, share, and modules that we are going to use for different functionalities in NVivo. So as a beginner, just note that we are going to use files and the codes section. Now, on the file section, or highlighting the file section, we can go to the Word document that we want to import into NVivo, then drag it and drop it. Remember, I'm highlighting the file section, so we drag it and drop it inside the file section and click OK. And what that does is that it imports our transcript into NVivo. Now, after importing the transcript, let's look at how to do some coding in NVivo. So I double click on the transcript that I just imported. Okay, then on this menu on the left, you can see this arrow here. We can collapse this menu by clicking on this arrow on the left here, so that we have more working space. When we want to do coding, we highlight the code section, okay, and then we can collapse the menu there. So we are going to create our codes in this area. Now, this transcription is a focus group discussion among depressed pregnant women in urban low-income areas. So let's just read through some section and let's try to come up with some codes. Okay, remember, codes are a shorthand, interpretative, or descriptive label to specific information that may be relevant to your research questions. So when we are coming up with codes, we are just providing labels to information that is relevant or information that will answer our research questions. Now let's read this. Interviewer: expectant mothers experience a lot of stress, either from family or life. We want to hear from you what makes pregnant mothers be stressed. Let's share our experiences so that when we will be presenting, we can know the problem among expectant mothers and find a solution, because you are considered a special group. You need not to be stressed. There are different reasons that can result to stress. Let's share the experiences, as everyone here has our own experiences. So remember, this is a focus group that was conducted on depressed pregnant women in urban low-income areas. So this one will determine, or they will provide some reasons or the causes of stress are expressed among these mothers. A research question that will be explored in this case is, what are the causes of stress among pregnant mothers in urban low-income areas. So let's do some coding. Let's have the first respondent. How are you? What makes us mothers be stressed is how you live. Maybe you do not have work. You are pregnant. When life becomes a challenge, the husband becomes noisy in the house with arguments now and then. This makes mothers be stressed. So, one of the reasons why pregnant mothers can become stressed in urban low-income areas is maybe you do not have work and you are pregnant. The first thing I do is to highlight the statement that I want to code, and then I drag and drop it in the codes section. Remember, this is my codes section. The only thing I've done is to collapse my menu here on the code section, then click on the left to collapse the menu. I want to code this as joblessness is one of the causes of stress among pregnant mothers in urban low-income areas. Then when life becomes a challenge, the husband becomes noisy in the house with arguments now and then. So we can code that as conflict with spouse, and then this makes mothers be stressed. Other stressing situations is when sick during pregnancy period, as you can't manage yourself. You have kids, no work, there is no way you can feed them. This contributes to a lot of thoughts resulting into stress. So other stressing situation is when sick during pregnancy. So this statement can be sickness during pregnancy. Remember, what I'm doing here is I'm just generating initial codes, and then we are going to develop some themes from these codes. So again, you have kids, no work, and there is no way you can feed them. This contributes to stress. So another cause of stress is inability to provide for other children. That can be a code. Then interviewer, can we have an example of something that stressed you much? Before I met you, have been in much stress. My life was a bit difficult as my husband and his family stressed me. It reached a point of him moving out of the house. This really stressed me as I didn't know what to do, as I was jobless. So actually this statement, this really stressed me as I didn't know what to do as I was jobless. We can see joblessness. So I drag, if you want to add a statement or a coding reference to already developed code, you just highlight it, drag and drop it. So joblessness, there are two statements now supporting that. Let's look at the second respondent here. How are you? Stress comes in when you're not getting along with your husband. So you can see this one says not getting along with the husband. So conflict with spouse, okay? That can be. So we drag and drag this statement into this code we develop. Conflict with spouse. He cannot purchase food or pay rent. Instead, he runs away. You find yourself lonely, stressed on how you will pay rent plus school fees, and there is no way you can go to work. This one can be, or all these statements can be, lack of financial support from spouse. Lack of sufficient financial support from spouse. So that's another reason that contributes to stress among pregnant mothers. These are some codes that we have developed. Let's develop a few more codes before we move to coming up with themes.
Let me interrupt this video for a minute and inform you of my services. My first type of service that I offer is consulting for anything related to qualitative data analysis using NVivo. You hop on a video call with me through Microsoft Teams or Zoom, and I will help you become a pro with NVivo in a few hours. I also provide a done-for-you data analysis service. I do the manual coding and provide a data analysis report with the necessary visuals. Some kind of visuals I do include tables, hierarchy charts, and the framework matrix. Email or message me right now. Details in the description.
As you know, it has a lot of pressure. It reached a time I told my boss that I won't be attending work daily due to some business queries which are hectic. So this one actually can be job-related obligations. Job-related obligations are a source of stress for pregnant mothers. My second stress was my neighbors whom we usually had issues, but I vacated. At least now I have sorted work. I'm not going daily and the surrounding has changed. So another cause of stress was, we can highlight this statement. So it can be poor relationship with neighbors. Poor relationship with neighbors. That's another cause of stress. Let's have the fourth respondent. My stress comes from diseases. So we can see, you remember we had a code, sickness during pregnancy. So we can drag that there and actually we can rename this code. Remember, what I'm doing is just right clicking, going to code properties, and we can rename this as illness. This is how you rename your codes. So illness during pregnancy, and you can see I've added another statement there. So there are two statements that contribute to the code of illness during pregnancy. So this one we can call it lack of stable source of income. So these are some of the codes which are the causes of stress among pregnant mothers. Those are enough codes that can help us to come up with some themes. So I want to show you how we come up with some themes using NVivo. So after coding, I can close that transcript. We are going to have, remember these codes are in the code section, okay? So we are going to have our codes, right? Now, we can look at a relationship between the codes and the codes that have shared meaning, okay? The codes that have shared meaning are going to have or are going to be under a single theme. For example, conflict with spouse, illness during pregnancy, so inability to provide for other children, job-related obligations, joblessness, lack of stable source of income, lack of sufficient financial support from spouse, poor relationship with neighbors. So for example, if we look, we can see what we could call financial challenges as a theme. That one will be as a theme. So I just right click, go to new code and create a new code. But this code will be a theme. Why? Because we are going to drag and drop some codes under these financial challenges to make it a theme. So financial challenges will be a theme that have different codes. For example, lack of a stable source of income, okay, joblessness, we drag and drop it, inability to provide for other children, job related, lack of sufficient financial support from spouse. So all these codes can contribute to financial challenges, which again contribute to stress among pregnant mothers. So we drag and drop all those codes under financial challenges. Again, we come down here and press aggregate coding. If you right click, you're going to right click on our code and then aggregate from children. It's going to aggregate all the codes under the theme financial challenge. So this is how we form themes in NVivo. We find codes that have shared meanings which will contribute to one. Another theme that is emerging here is social challenges, which contribute social challenges, or I can call these social issues. They might not be challenges, but they can be issues. And also this theme, we can rename it to financial issues, okay, which contribute to stress among pregnant mothers in low-income urban areas. Now, I have developed social issues as a theme also. So, poor relationship with neighbors, that's a social issue, okay? Conflict with spouse, that's a social issue. So, we can aggregate, again, we right-click. We have two codes that contribute to the theme of social issues. These are codes, this is a theme. Now, let's develop another theme. We right-click on this area, we click on the create new code, and let's call this health issue. That was again another prevalent theme that came out. So illnesses during pregnancy, okay? So we drag and drop that code there. When we right click on the overall theme and we aggregate, so illnesses during pregnancy is the health issue that contributes to stress among pregnant mothers in urban low-income areas. We have job-related obligations. This one I won't classify it under any of my themes for now, and actually I can decide to delete that code for now. So these are the three themes that emerged. Remember, the first thing we did was come up with codes, and then we look for shared meaning and patterns between the codes to develop themes. So the three themes are financial issues, health issues, and social issues. So financial issues, health issues, and social issues contribute to stress among pregnant mothers in low-income areas. So those are the three issues that contribute to stress. Again, we press Ctrl S to save this. Always remember to keep saving your project so that you don't lose your progress. So health issues, social issues, and financial issues. Now, that's how you develop themes in NVivo. Remember, this is a kind of inductive way of thematic analysis because I started with the codes and then I have themes here, okay? So these are some themes that I have developed in NVivo. So the next thing is some visuals. So one of the visuals we can draw in NVivo, for example, we are on financial issues, if I right click here and I go to visualize, okay, I select on visualize, then I go down to hierarchy chart of codes, okay, I select this option, hierarchy chart of codes. I will get a tree map. This is called a tree map. And then if you look at the options here on the top where we have a tree map, and I click on the down arrow, I click on the second option, a sunburst. So you get a sunburst like this. If I click inside the sunburst, I'm going to have this hierarchy chart, which is one of the visuals that you can make in NVivo. So after you complete developing your codes, you can visualize your data using a hierarchy chart like this. Again, using this menu at the top left, we can change the color to, I go down until I get black and white, so we can change the color. So these are some of the financial issues that contribute to stress among pregnant mothers in urban low income areas. So joblessness, lack of sufficient financial support, inability to provide for other children, and lack of stable source of income. Again, after we visualize, we can press Ctrl Shift and E and we can save this in our folder. So let's give it the number 1 and save that. It will be saved as an image, and if you double click on this folder, so this is the image that we just exported, which we can use in our report. So one way to visualize in NVivo is to use a hierarchy chart. Another major way we can visualize our data in NVivo would be, let's look at health issues for example, and we want to go to the explore area, and I want to show you how we can come up with something we call a mind map. Okay, so we can call this, we right click, we open the mind map, we can call this health issues. Okay, we click OK. So this thing will pop up here, this circle, or let me draw social issues, which has at least 2 codes. Okay, so social issues, I go to code properties, I just want to copy this. Okay, then I double click on this area, I press Ctrl V, I paste. This is just a way to visualize. So these are called mind maps in NVivo. So we have one level there. Remember, we have 2 codes contributing to the theme of social issues: poor relationship with neighbors, conflict with spouse. Now I want to click on these social issues and go to child. Again, click on the social issues and go to child. I develop themes under, or this is the way I insert the codes under social issues. Again, I go to poor relationship with neighbors, I copy, I double click, I press Ctrl V, and then I go to conflict with spouse, I copy, then I double click, Ctrl V. Now these are the 2 causes or the 2 codes that contribute to social issues theme, and the social issues theme is one of the causes of stress among pregnant mothers in urban low income areas. So I can resize or I can remodel this mind map by coming here on my left and then choosing the second option here on my left, the top left. So again, we can see this is the theme of social issues with 2 codes: poor relationship with neighbors, conflict with spouse. Again, I can press Ctrl A and then I can format this mind map in black and white. So the first thing I'll do is to change the fill. So I want to change the fill to white. Then the next thing I'll do is to change the borders to black. Okay, and then the next thing I'll do, if you go to the font color here, I can change it to black. Okay, then I can go to this area and I can use Times New Roman font size 12. Okay, so that's how you format this mind map. And then I can highlight on social issues and press on bold to show that this is a theme and these are codes. And we can export this mind map here and we can call it number 2. And if you go to our folder, you'll see number 2. This is an image we can use in our report. So these are 2 of the basic visuals you can have in NVivo. Now remember, we are still on the codes area. These are the codes we generated, right? So if we on the codes area, we can highlight all the codes. We can go to export, we right click, go to export list. Okay, so I want to save that and see what will happen. So this is the folder I'm saving my documents. This is the Excel I just saved right now. So this one will give us the coding structure. We have these two numbers, number 1, 2 on the far left. Okay, if you click on number 2, number 1 is the themes, number 2 is the themes and the codes under them. Now let me expand this for you to see. So you can see financial issues or the codes under it. Here are the issues or the codes, and the files. Remember, the files are the number of files that you have. In this case we have 1 focus group. References are the number of coding references. We can always come here and export some tables to use in our report. For example, let's say we want to represent a theme of financial issues. Okay, so I highlight financial issues, this theme of financial issues, I copy, and then I open a Word document and I can paste. We are going to have a very nice table here. Let me delete this column. So this is a table we can use in our report in NVivo. We can, for example, come in the table and right click again and insert rows above, and we can name this theme, then files, and then coding references. So that's the third way of visualizing in NVivo. Now let's look at a very important point, which is how do we produce a data analysis report. Remember, we started with importing our data, then we did some analysis to get codes, then we looked for shared meaning and patterns between the codes to come up with themes. Then we were able to visualize using 1 hierarchy chart, 2 a mind map, and then a table. Finally, we have our data and our visualization. So we are going to see how we can produce a data analysis report in NVivo. The first thing when you are producing a data analysis report in NVivo is to be aware of your research question. For example, in this case, my research question was, what are the main causes of stress among pregnant mothers in low-income urban areas? So this is my main research question. And then when we have my research question like this, the themes that emerge answer this research question. Okay, so how I present my data is that this research question will be my main topic. Okay, and then the themes that I have will be answers to this research question. So I can come up first with a table that connects my research question with the themes that emerged. For example, in beginning my data analysis report, I can say, after conducting the data analysis process, remember what I'm doing here is just voice typing using Google Docs. So I'm just voice typing to show you an example of a report. After conducting the data analysis, different themes emerged that were later connected to the main research question of what are the main causes of stress among pregnant mothers in low-income urban areas. The table below shows a connection between the main research question and the emergent themes. So I'm going to go to insert, and then I'm going to draw a table here like that. So we got research question and themes. So research question and themes. I'm going to insert my main research question here, which is the research question we were trying to answer. Okay, then under themes, remember we had this Excel that we came up with. So I'm going to copy all these themes, the 3 of them, copy them and paste them without formatting here, and we can give them, these are the 3 themes that answer that research question. This would be the introduction of the data analysis report, basically showing the connection between the themes that emerged and my main research question. After I do this, I can then go one theme after another and discuss those in my report. For example, I can go to financial issues and put this as a subtopic in my data analysis report. Okay, so financial issues, for example. Now I can write that after conducting the data analysis, the researcher developed different codes that contributed to the emergence of the theme financial issues. So we go to financial issues there, and we want to mention the different codes contributing. So we write joblessness was most highlighted cause of financial issues that contributed to financial struggles among pregnant mothers in urban low-income areas. Remember, what I'm doing here is just highlighting this code, joblessness, and then I'm going to come and double click on this code after I write about it, and then I'm going to copy the excerpts that represent that code. Remember, we just coded this, and then after describing the code and the theme, I'm going to delete all this, and then I'm going to italicize these areas and place an indent. So you can see this is what we get. Joblessness was one of the most highlighted issues that contributed to financial struggles among pregnant mothers in urban low-income areas. Again, let's discuss another code under this financial issues. So lack of a stable source of income. Lack of a stable source of income was also a significant financial issue that was highlighted by pregnant mothers and which contributed to stress. And then I'm going to go to NVivo again, lack of a stable source of income. I double click on that code. Then I get this quote, I copy and I paste this quote here and I indent. So this is basically how you develop, or this is how you write your data analysis report. The first thing you do is to connect the themes that you obtained with your research question. You can use a table like me here to do that. And then you have these areas where you explain what's happening, or you tell the story of your data. So for example, in this case, financial issues is my subheading, which is a theme, right? Then I explain this theme that it emerged after I conducted data analysis among the different transcripts. I came up with codes which contributed to the emergence, not image, emergence of the theme of financial issues. Then I describe code after the other. So in this case, I would have to describe all these codes that you see under financial issues, which is a theme, right? So we describe all these codes. And then remember, or we can later go to, if you remember our folder, and number one, we exported a hierarchy chart, come up in our report and fix some images. Okay, we can put like a hierarchy chart, or we can decide to insert what we call the mind map in our report. So the different visuals we can put in our data analysis report include mind map, hierarchy chart, and tables. So this is how you come up with the report. A report is just a story connecting the different themes and codes that you came up with, and the interview excerpts supporting such themes. Now, that's how you conduct a data analysis with NVivo. Make sure to check out my other videos that look at specific ways to conduct qualitative data analysis, such as reflexive thematic analysis in NVivo. Remember, I provide done-for-you data analysis services and consulting services for any problem or challenge related to NVivo. So check the link and email in the description and talk to me right away. Thank you.